Hello, everyone. I'm Anamika, and I welcome all of you to today's AMA session with Mr. Dheeraj Gyani, Director, Education and Government Engagement, GitHub India. Welcome,
Hi
sir.
everyone. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. So, before we begin, I would like to ask you to throw some light on what GitHub education is all about and what is the impact that it has created in Indian market right now.
Well, thank you and good evening everyone once again. It's a huge pleasure to be here today and to have this conversation on GitHub Externship. Uh, GitHub Externship is extremely close to our heart project for everyone in GitHub India. And while we'll talk about it, and let me address the question that Anamika has raised first about what is GitHub education and what's the impact of GitHub education in India. Anamika, when we started the India operations of GitHub last year, education was again a very big focus. And when we say education, it is students, teachers, and the institutions themselves. So if you see our offerings, they are primarily bucketed by stakeholders, by the audience that we serve. So we do have products for students, which is student developer pack and a very passionate army of GitHub campus experts. We do have similar offerings for teachers, which is the teacher toolbox and the campus advisor program. And then we have the GitHub classroom and the GitHub campus program for institutions. Now, all of these offerings have been doing extremely well in India. India has always been ranked, the Indian student community on GitHub is always on the top. Well, it's not really on number one position, but I personally feel that there is no reason why it should not be on the number one position. We all know that India is the IT capital of the world. We all know that the Indian students have maximum interest when it comes to computer science and IT and information technology. And here we have Arco, another, I would say, IT enthusiast, and compared to me, a recent passed out of the school and college ecosystem. So hi, Arco.
Hey everyone, hi Dheeraj. Sorry to just stream crash you on the stream. I know it's going on, but it was like just a month that I've joined GitHub and being in the education team. Of course, I want to know more, and I thought that just sticking around on chat, answering just questions, that's like not too great probably right now. So I thought that I'll join in, try to ask you more questions. I have a lot of questions actually to ask, but yeah, continue talking about the education piece which you're talking about and the impact that's already happening in India so far. And I would love to know more and ask more questions. And watch out on the chat, and folks joining in today on the stream, please tell us what you're snacking on at least, and tell us where you're joining today's this entire AMA session with Dheeraj and myself just stream crashing from. Put it on the chat and want to know more from all across, and show us some emojis. Just random questions is not something that we are looking at. Tell us, show us this excitement and enthusiasm on chat as well. But yeah, over to you, Dheeraj. Tell me more, like what's happening and what's like the impact so far we have had.
Thank you, and thank you for stream crashing. That's typical you. That's what you would do best. So continue doing that. But yeah, I think it's a pleasure to have you, Arco, because as you said, you're still new to GitHub, so you still bring us that outside in experience. And I'm going to ask you some questions today as well. And let's hear the external or the outside view from you. So continuing on GitHub education. I was talking about the offerings that we have, the global offerings that we have from GitHub Education for India. But when we started the operations, and as I said, there were some things which have to be designed for India, that have to be designed for Indian student, what Indian student community needs. And the GitHub Externship is one of those offerings. While GitHub offers an fellowship program globally, that continues, but we designed this program something very specially for the Indian students that we have. So that's one, and we'll obviously talk more about it. I love to hear more questions about the externship. But besides externship, we have been launching the grants program for open source maintainers and open source contributors, individuals who are really doing fantastic work in open source. So in case you are one of them, please do apply for the open source grants program that we have announced. We are giving up to 1 crore rupees totally, not to an individual, but 1 crore of rupees is being given as grants by GitHub in India. So do watch out for that program. And besides that, the startup community. Again, I'm sure that a lot of students or young professionals are budding entrepreneurs. They will start up their own organization. So in case you are a startup, we did announce another program, Made in India program for the startups, which is called as the Accelerate program, where we are giving a lot of free tools and technology to startups, eligible startups. So in case you are one of them, do apply and look at that program. So, talking about the impact, as I said, that my personal goal is to really scale up all these programs that we have, and really be that #1 spot in GitHub worldwide. India should be that star, the shining star in the whole GitHub ecosystem space, and that's what we'll do. But it has been an awesome journey, and requesting all of you to give us feedback, to let us know what you would like to hear from us and expect GitHub in India to do. So your chats are open, your questions are open. I look forward to all of those.
I think that's the beauty when we talk about open source and driving similar programs around it, and that's what's always fascinates me. Always when I look into GitHub as a community as well, and being so popular among student developers. I mean, talking about the not just externship as a model that we have done so far, like it's just started, but also the other programs that we have had. So, but when I see there's a lot of enthusiasm, especially in students, and it's been the talk of the town, like everywhere on, you check out community channels on social, everywhere, like everyone's talking about the externship, and there's a lot of opportunity that we are seeing in a lot of Indian startups, joining in collaboration with us in, driving this program efficiently. So how do you understand, or how do you come up with this? Firstly, like, this is something, the need of the hour that you realized, or what were your thoughts behind while planning a program like this?
You're absolutely right, Arko. Externship, internship, fellowship has always been a need of an hour. And you talk about today, you talk about yesterday. I'm sure it's going to be equally in demand in future as well. Now, GitHub education. What's our motto? Our motto is to really make our students real world ready. That's what we have always been talking about, that let's be real world ready. And what is real world? Real world is an actual experience that we can give to a student, that okay, this is how corporate life is, this is how real software development happens, this is how open source software is created. So to give that experience, there is no classroom, there is no courses, there is no experience better than a real life project that you work in a corporate environment. You have exactly those mentors who could possibly be your employers in the future. Working with those people on a real life project is the best experience that we can offer. Now, with fellowship, with GitHub India fellowship, I think externship, the idea was that how do we give that experience to students coming from tier 2 colleges, from tier 1 colleges, from remote parts of our country. And this has again been a big complaint that we hear, that okay, I belong to a very remote town, I'm doing my engineering, but I don't come across large opportunities, or a great opportunity where an employer or a company will work with me or give me some projects to work on. So there was a big gap, and that's where we thought that let's launch the program, where on one hand we bring the new startups, emerging startups, or mid-sized companies who are really developing the future technology in their organizations. You talk about startups, you talk about companies who are doing some awesome job. So we bring them, and believe me, they are hungry to have or to work with fresh talent coming from various colleges in the country. So we have those on one hand, and then we have extremely passionate students who are keen to work on such projects. All we are trying to do is to just bridge or be the platform where we can join both of these, say, stakeholders together and give them that opportunity. Open source, again, the whole GitHub Externship revolves around open source, and you have seen statistics, Arko. Today, almost 80 to 90% software is developed using open source software. Right now in our country, COVID, everybody is looking for vaccination registrations. People are developing quick software using GitHub and open source technology on how to find vaccination spots or available spots quickly. How do we enable all this? So that's the idea, that this externship will revolve around open source technology, and we give this opportunity to students to work on real life projects and hopefully also get hired by these companies.
I think that's fantastic. Like when I understand the gap that's already there, is a lot of students struggle that they want to contribute to communities, they want to contribute to open source, they want to contribute to a lot of organizations that they probably like using those tools and products, and they don't know like what's the opportunity out there. And
Right.
I think that gap is probably a right way to fix that gap that's already there in the industry. So yeah, makes sense
Yeah.
on that piece as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have a question for you, Arpan. I have followed your work for past many months and years. I would say you were the most frequent hackathon visitor over weekends. That's what you would always say, that this is what I love to do, being part of hackathons physically. So what's missing these days? How is the digital experience treating you, and how are you engaging with the student developer communities?
Oh yes, like at hackathons, if I have to talk about, I never went to office, honestly. Very, very frankly speaking, like 4 5 days, like no, I'm not there. Like, not on a working day, at least. I would rather be on a weekend, spending time with nerds out there, and talk to them, hear more about what they're building on, trying to fix their questions, or answer them if needed, tinker around ideas, and coming up with stuff. And prototyping stuff. So that's something I really miss, honestly. If I have to say on a personal level, that's a huge gap right now when I talk about digital events taking place, digital engagement, and that's very common for a lot. But I do say there's a lot of opportunity as well with anything which is not going great. There's always a positive side to it as well. There's a lot for a lot of student developers to connect with a lot of folks globally, where content is probably driving this entire you know way we do digital events today, and things are happening at scale. So that's definitely a good part of it. But yes, there is a gap where you miss being out there in person, but I'm sure with time we will get used to it, at least in a hybrid structure.
I think due to the network issue at Dheeraj's side, we might.
Yeah. Hey, Dheeraj.
Sorry. Hey, did I stream crash now or this?
Yeah.
What happened?
I think this is a good way to answer what's the pain part of digital events. Things can get unexpected. So that's like a lot of logistical stuff might go wrong. But yeah, to continue, what is something that we missed today is definitely the in-person engagement. But I hope with time we'll have eventually a hybrid model to engage developers more in person and getting things back to normal. So, moving ahead, I think I have probably the most expected question that I have faced so far on social or on chat on a lot of our applications that I've seen, especially with externship, is why is it restricted just to third year students or just our campus schools and all of it? Like, what's the main reason behind it? Or is there? I'm sure there's some thought behind coming up with a rule or regulations around it. But yeah, happy to hear more. What's the main thought behind it?
I know, Argo. It's a very I would say it's a very difficult decision for us to sort of restrict the externship to certain students, certain years, and certain schools. And believe me, we we receive hundreds of emails every, and almost 80% of the mails are about that. Okay, as per the norms, I'm not eligible. How can I be part of the externship program? Folks in an ARCO, ultimately we have to draw certain guidelines. Now, as I mentioned, the program is about open source. The program is about using GitHub and working on live projects which are hosted on GitHub. Now, if we take students or students who are not really, who do not have that fundamentals of how open source software development happens, or who do not know the fundamentals of Git and GitHub, it becomes very difficult for us or for the project owners or the organizations, our partner organizations, to sort of again train students on that fundamentals. So the idea was that the GCP, the GitHub campus partner schools that we have been running open source workshops there. We have been running Git and GitHub workshops there. We have been running hackathons in those schools. So there is a very clear understanding that students coming from these schools and colleges have that basics fundamental very, very clear. So the idea is that they will perform very well when they work on projects on GitHub. So that's the reason why we have restricted this to the GitHub campus partner schools. But folks, I can tell you that enrolling your school or making the school part of GitHub campus program is very easy. All you have to do is apply online, and we are really processing those applications very, very fast. So in case your school is not listed, please do have your school apply and get them listed. It is absolutely free. There is no fees at all to become part of the GitHub campus partner school. As far as third year students are concerned, one of the objectives that our partners or our project owners have said is that they would like to consider these people as possible future employees. Now, if we take a student from first year or second year, it becomes very difficult for them to sort of wait for the next 2 years or 3 years till the student is out of the college. So that's where we have always restricted this to be the pre-final year students are only eligible, because they are, in a way ready or will be available to be employed by these organizations if everything goes well. So that's the reason. And as I said, it's a very tough decision for us to sort of say no to anyone on the basis of eligibility, but we really have to draw the line somewhere.
So yeah, I think that's fundamentally correct, right? At some point of time, you want, like how I look into this is a lot of students would be joining in part of the externship and taking up their projects after a certain period of time, some 90 days, and then there is a chance that if they are performing well, they might get a pre-placement offer and all of it. So yeah, good thing. Yeah, you have opportunities as students, contribute to open source, do a lot of it, like let your CV be not just a piece of paper or you creating it. It should be probably your GitHub repository or GitHub profile. So that should rather speak. At least in modern days, I think that's going to be the way it's done. And a lot of companies appreciate GitHub profiles over CVs. That's another good thing. But yeah, I see there's a lot of engagement from not just students. There's a lot of companies and opportunities from the companies also who want to hire as well. How I look at this is there is some involvement, you think, with institutions from an externship point of view. Is there a role of the institutions as well, apart from just enrolling themselves in the part of the GCP program?
Well, institutions are the pillar for externship program, and that's where we have, our whole first communication was to institutions and not to students directly. So one, as I said, that the companies, the project owners are really giving projects on open source. That's number one. They are. So all I expect the institutions to sort of, number one, not only talk about externship program to the student communities, they should inform them that there is an opportunity. Students should use this opportunity and apply. That's one. Secondly, please do teach students open source and fundamentals of Git and GitHub. It's very, very important that students are made aware of of how professional world is working. And I'm sure, all the campus program schools are doing fantastic job. We have been working with them, running workshops, running hackathons. It has been a great experience. But that's what I would urge all institutions to continue on the open source Git and GitHub journey with students, and encourage students to sort of apply for programs like the GitHub Externship program.
I think that's fantastic. And I think another announcement, folks, who are on the stream right now, we also have a swag giveaway thing happening. So yeah, please share, create your favorite AutoCAD, put it up on your probably wallpaper, desktop, whatever you're using, and show us what you're snacking on your workspace. We want to see how you are doing that, work from home, or if you're a student, how you're studying from home. All of it, show us your desk space or workstation, whatever you're working on at the moment, and put it up on Twitter or anywhere on social with hashtag GitHub Externships, and tell us how excited you are, of course, about externships and all of it. Dheeraj, you were saying something.
I love swags and I love GitHub swag. So students, go on social media, talk about it, and post your favorite monas. I love to see different avatars of Mona that students create. They scribble, they use our AutoCAD generator. So please post your favorite AutoCADs as well.
Fantastic. And there's a lot of questions also, a lot of students asking that, externship, is it an ongoing initiative? Will there be opportunities for a lot of students who are going to be in third year in 6 months down the line? So what's the long-term goal, Dheeraj? Is there a chance that we have externship happening anytime soon? If yes, how?
It actually gives me a lot of pleasure to talk about it more. Manish, who's our country manager in India, and we all were talking today and talking about, how the whole externship experience has been so far. We are totally overwhelmed with the number of applications that we have been receiving. Students, absolutely, we are going to be there next summers. We will be, hopefully scaling this up in a big way. We will hopefully not say no to any students on the externship program. But I have something more to say, especially because a lot of students came and said, okay, I still want, my college is not part of the campus program, so I'm not able to apply. I think we will come back in December as well. So let's not wait till the next summers where there is a new batch of students which is going to be eligible. We will have a next round of externships in December for sure. So in case, somehow if you miss the bus this time, few months down the line, we will open up the applications again for the winter batch. So don't lose hope. Don't be disheartened. Our whole aim is to really scale this up and provide opportunities to maximum number of students that we have in India.
Awesome. I think what you need to do right now is probably start contributing to open source. That's already there. So create your GitHub account, use all the great stuff, all the tools that we give, part of the student developer pack, speak to your folks at your universities, get them enrolled, and we are coming, like Dheeraj already mentioned. So excited folks out there. So don't worry, we'll have a lot more stuff over the time, over the year, a lot of activities happening in. And feel free to reach out to us if there are more questions. And once again, like thanking each and every partner of the who has joined in as a partner organization as well for the externship. And Dheeraj can definitely mention a lot, and I think Incubate team can also share more details about them. But it was great chatting with each one of you and answering your questions. Feel free to reach out to us on anywhere on the internet. Like I almost live on Twitter, so yeah, feel free to reach out to me.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that Puneet has joined in too. Puneet is from Incubate. They are managing the whole program for us. They are, doing a fantastic job answering to hundreds of queries that we receive every day. So students, continue to asking questions, and we are there.
So there are a couple of questions, is it necessary to aware of all of the technology mentioned at the project? So mostly yes, like you need to understand the basics of the languages. Rest externship is for the things where you can learn about those technologies. The idea is to you need to submit a proposal wherein you need to align with the proposal idea with the organization what they wanted to do in next 2-3 years and submit the proposal accordingly. Once you submit the proposal, they will do an one-to-one mentee interaction wherein they will understand your background, they will understand your reasoning and other capability. Once they will understand those with you, so they will select probably from there only. So I think this is the most askable questions in the chat. And
also, just to make a note on the other stuff where a lot of students have queries that hey, I don't know how to use not familiar with this tech stack, or I'm not familiar with this open source project, how do I get started with it? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that we do, especially with Indian communities, Indian open source projects over time, and you see we have always found out an opportunity to empower them. So watch out our Twitter channel as well to find more updates throughout the year, what's happening around in our world, and finding out a space for you to learn from those as well. So there's not just externship, but there's a lot more happening as well. Like part of it could be some webinar sessions where you could skill yourself up, or there will be some workshops as well. So yeah, watch out on our Twitter channel. We post often about the activities coming up, especially for students and other developers as well for India specific. Over to you, Puneet.
so just an announcement here, like every day for a week from now at 7 p.m., we have organization point of contact who will tell you more about what they do, what are the things that they are looking for, how the proposal should look like. So these are the basic things that every students, every aspire extern is looking for. So we are getting lots of queries every day in a Slack channel or on WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook. So I think that's why we have started this series from today. And thank you and grateful to both of you, Dheeraj sir and Arko Dyuti. So and post that, from now we have Jason from BeagleBoard who will join us shortly. So
Perfect. And my last words, and two requests that I have to everybody who's watching this stream. One, continue asking your questions. Send us emails. Send us, tag us on Twitter. Call us, whatever. Ask questions. Secondly, as Puneet mentioned, that now every week, the partner organization, the project owners are going to come here and talk to you and answer your organization specific or project specific questions. It's extremely important that you make a great application to all these projects. So ensure that you maximize out of this AMAs that are going to happen in the next few weeks, and do a great job in applying. I'm so glad that we have Jason here. First, he's kicking off our the Q&As with our partner orgs, and thanks to everybody, all the partner organizations that have been onboarded and who have committed to offer projects to students. we will have some more organizations joining very soon. So keep an eye on our website.
You are in mute, Anamika.
Anamika, I think you're on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So I just wanted to thank you and Arko for coming here, taking out the time for today. And I hope this session settles the nerves of our participants and they incorporate your advice in their projects. And once again, thanks to all the partner organizations that we have collaborated with. Thank you very much. So I would like to invite Mr. Jason Ryder, co-founder and president of board BeagleBone.org, and we have also with us Puneet Jain, the co-founder of Incubated. Welcome to both of you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Hi, Jason. Thank you for joining in.
It's great to be here.
So, Jason, I have a couple of questions that we have got from the students, from the developers, the open source contributors. So, first of all, I just wanted to understand about your organization, what you do, what your organization do.
All right, so BeagleBoard.org was started back in 2008, making one of the first ARM computers that was powerful enough to be a desktop computer, but meant to be personally affordable, at least as close as I can get. You know, we actually helped inspire other projects like the Raspberry Pi to come out. But one of the things that we do very differently is everything we do is open hardware, right? So our goal is to ultimately give people tools that they can go and make their own embedded computer systems or single board computers. And so we do everything as open hardware and open source software. So we hope to help improve the access to small computers, but ultimately we want to help people make things embedded, right? So we find computers all throughout our lives now, and a lot of times those computers don't look like keyboard, monitor, mouse, like we're used to as kind of a desktop computer, right? They're embedded. So they're kind of hidden. They look more like appliances than they do desktop computers, right? So we're hoping to improve the access to tools that help people build computers that are embedded in things, right? So that if they're in a car, they're in your phone, they're all over the place, and doing open source technology, primarily Linux. As it's one of the greatest collaborative efforts taken by mankind. Hopefully it gives some sort of intro, but happy to speak more, but I want to make sure to cover everything that you've got to ask.
Thank you so much for giving us a sense what the BeagleBoard does, and like this is a first time initiative in India, like GitHub has taken, like GitHub Externship. So what is your expectation, and why you are choosing to be a part of this first time initiative with us?
Well, we use GitHub every day, so it's our primary way of collaboration through Git and through GitHub. So we really appreciate the tools. We think it's a great way for people to be able to represent and share their ideas. So we're just really happy to participate with GitHub. I'm joined by Kathy Wicks, who's got a long history in helping support universities and university education. And she'll be assisting me in administering any of our internships if we're fortunate enough to get some good applications. We're excited about all the talent that you're connected with, all the different universities that you're supporting. So we know that there's a lot of talented students at those universities, and we're hoping that we can help them find something interesting, some interesting problems to go tackle, and help them get some valuable experience as well as visibility within the industry. So I think that's why we're happy to participate.
Very excited to participate. Hello, sorry I was a minute late.
So welcome, Kathy, in the stream. So the next question is for both of you. So like, how do you envisage the scope of this project during the internship?
How do we address the scope?
So for suppose I'm a student or I'm a developer, I'll apply for the BeagleBoard and I got selected, right? So first of all, I'm so much excited, and now I would wanted to work under your leadership. So what are the things that you will contribute or that I learn from you?
Yeah, scoping is critical, and the relationship between the mentor and the student is critical. So Jason, I'll let you take scope and I'll take mentors.
So the things that I think our mentors have the most to offer around is certainly understanding open source process, the process of engaging an expert community where there's already a huge knowledge base around the Linux code base itself that already exists, but there's certainly a learning curve that comes up into how do I not only take apart the pieces of understanding what's there. You know, thanks to Git, we have these histories, right, that we actually can learn how this technology is developed through looking at the history, how other things have been done before us. And then, you know, hopefully we can, you know, help the students understand how to take it to the next level where they're providing contributions. So how to engage that expert community. And then we'll be looking very much at the milestones as a way to know where the touch points are with the students, how to help them best succeed, right? So the better that they can write the milestones, the more focused we can be on helping them achieve those goals.
Great. Thank you for
Kathy,
answering.
Yeah,
Kathy,
I'd like to follow. Is my mic working? Sometimes I have trouble with the mic.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. So relationship with the mentors is critical. And what we do on projects at beagleboard.org with students is make sure that we have a key mentor and some secondary backup and following mentors. And it could be associated with a particular area of expertise that we also add those mentors, or it could be a former student who's gone through one of the programs with us because they have, very near-term experience with being a student. So one of the things that we do to encourage the student and mentor interaction is we set up some discussions with them a couple of times a week. It depends on the rhythm of the project and how short a time frame that we have. We do those on an IRC channel or on a Slack channel to where the student can have live interaction with the mentor during the entire time. So we have a special channel set up for them. But also we have meeting times where everybody comes, including myself, to help facilitate any challenges or questions or things like that. We encourage the students to identify any blockers, anything that they're being challenged with right away. We have the students write up like a journal or a blog entry to let people know their process, because it's not just the end product that is really critically important to our community. It is the process by which students go through it. And we love students to work with our community because they bring a fresh perspective. They bring questions that no one's asked before. And so it helps us see our community, our software through the eyes of a new user, and helps everyone in our community get better. So rescoping or re-identifying what the milestones might be is a regular and ongoing process through a mentorship. And that's something that our mentors have had a lot of experience with, making sure that the student knows where to go for resources, directing them towards additional training or resources that they might need, or bringing someone else onto the discussion that may be an expert in a particular area in which they have a block. We make administrators such as myself available to have one-on-one discussions with the students if they are if they're feeling frustrated or if they're feeling confused, so that we can help facilitate that communication with the community.
Okay, thank you. So another question. So what are all tech stacks is needed to be a part of BeagleBoard externship?
What tech stack? So Linux is probably the most important one. Having some familiarity with electronics interfacing, hardware interfacing, if you know things like I2C or SPI or PWM, if any of those magic letters, right, mean something to you, that's a really good thing. But that is some place where we can also help out, is between the software to hardware interface level.
So you mean Linux is the bare minimum requirement to apply for the externship?
It is. It is, but you don't have to be. If you should definitely be a familiar Linux user. We can help you with maybe producing some of your first kernel patches if you've never done kernel patches before. But as a Linux user, that level of expertise is certainly desired. If you've it's helpful if you've at least rebuilt the kernel before. Although if you haven't, we can somewhat help you there. But that would probably be a really good thing if you've had the experience to rebuild your kernel in the past. Some experience with cross compilation is a must. So we can give some exercises early to make sure that you've done it. But if you've never experienced working with tool chains in a cross environment, I think that that might be even though you can certainly do a lot of native compilation on the board, you probably will for the execution of the project. It builds a certain level of understanding in the computer architectures if you've dealt with the problem of cross compilation, right? So if you've dealt with microcontrollers, that's doing cross compilation, and if you've dealt with Linux, I'd say those are the two key things.
Okay, so Linux is the bare minimum requirement.
Yeah.
So another question that I am getting from the chat is, like, suppose I am filling the proposal thing. What are the elements should I incorporate into the same? So is there any do's and don'ts from your side, or there's some tricks so one can get selected easily?
Yeah, I'll let Kathy follow up on this one after I just throw in a couple things. Milestones, achievable milestones every week really helps me decide how much the student has analyzed the problem. And really, a lot of times you have to kind of slow yourself down and reduce the amount of things that you're trying to accomplish to make sure that you can hit those milestones every single week. And I think that we can look at that, look at how they've described those milestones and what it takes to get there to get a pretty good idea if they understand the challenge that they're up for. So that sort of breakdown, I think any sort of references to previous coding experience, we love to see that you've already done some projects up on GitHub and that you can point us to some other things that you've tackled either in a microcontroller environment or in the Linux environment, either user space or in kernel space before. But giving links to code, we have our mentors are writing code every day. That that's what they are looking to give them the best judgment of how the student is going to be able to contribute. Kathy, you want to add to that?
Sure. So I'm not exactly sure what your scheduling is for accepting invitations, but one of the things that we find very useful is for the students to run that proposal by someone, right? Similar to when you're writing a paper in college, you wouldn't just write it by yourself and then turn it in and hope for an A, right? You run it across, so have several people read it. Make sure that even someone not affiliated reads your proposal to make sure there are no typos. I mean, that's kind of a basic thing, right? But have someone else engage in the community. Our IRC is open 24/7. We have people on India Standard Time all the time. We have former students who've done projects all the time. We had some former students on there till 2 in the morning last night because we were all working on a project together on a separate channel, but they're available on that main channel, right? So, and then we have people in European time, people in US time. So go ahead and ask questions and engage in the community and get used to that. That helps us also understand your level of comfort to interact with the community. You know, interacting with the Linux community 15 years ago when I started took a lot of courage because, you know, I didn't know very much and I was assuming they knew a lot. But nowadays we're all online, especially in the last year and a half, people are very comfortable and there's a lot of different skill sets of people available to talk to the students. So I'd say that would be very helpful. The other thing I want to reiterate from Jason's recommendation is be as precise and detailed as you possibly can. It makes it easier for someone to edit and provide feedback on your proposal, because if you leave it broad and general with like really high hopes for a large project, but you don't put in the proposal some of that detail, milestones, precision, it makes it difficult for mentors to help you develop those milestones. So go ahead and take a shot at it. And you know, it's an iterative process, and that's really important. So I encourage the students to engage as soon as they can. Even today, they can begin asking us questions and seeing what things are of interest to the community and developing those kinds of precision to their proposal.
Right. So students out there, you have an opportunity to get a chance to speak with Kathy and Jason from now onwards. And they are 24/7 available community organization. So the other questions just came into my mind, like what will be the amount of time do I need to devote in the externship?
I think they should consider this a full-time job for the summer, right? So this should be something that they're planning on spending 30 to 40 hours a week on. You know, if you can't devote that much time, it's probably not right. You know, I'm still learning more about how the GitHub externships work, right? Because this is our first year in this program. But we've found for successful internships that they really need to not have excessive distractions. If they have other jobs, you know, we'd like to see what we can do to try to avoid if they have to have other full-time jobs, and so that they can actually mentally focus on their efforts, and you know, because a lot of it comes out to engaging with people and seeking out extra information. So they need to make sure that they allocate time where they can reach out to the people that they need to reach out to on a regular basis. So finding available times for other people. Like we do have several people in India time zone that are available throughout the day, and you know, can even be available during work hours. Through the online chat. So anyway, short answer, 30 to 40 hours.
30 to 40 hours per week. Okay. So, and also like, it would be great if you can shed more light on the project, like, because most of the students who applied are just beginners, or they have an experience of 6 months or a year. So how they can start their proposal, because they don't have prior experience of applying anything.
Right. You know, imagining what you can create and imagining the barriers that come between you and what you want to create is kind of the perspective I would want them to take. Is like, if I was going to make something and as a user of the open technology, what are the barriers I need removed, and so I can work on those barriers myself. So this is a Beagle 5 Starlight board. It's a RISC-V based board, and this is, you know, the BeagleBone Black, right? This is the kind of the most popular of our open hardware single board computers. right? And the reason these have all these pins on them, right, is so that you can connect up things like motors, and motor drivers, sensors, displays, actuators, any sort of things that you interact with electronics in your life, right? There's usually an input, right? Some type of sensing the world, an output, a display or a relay or something where you're changing some aspect of the world. In the middle, you have processing. So thinking about things in kind of the DSP sort of flow of inputs and outputs is helpful. And then thinking about, well, how would I ideally like to input, consume and output, right? So anytime you have one of these little devices, you need a driver to make it appear easily to users. So there's a lot in terms of drivers, and then there's a lot in terms of like, well, how do I want that presented up to the network, right? So one of the things that once you get it into a computer, you can start having all these network interactions. So if you look at tools like Node-RED or WebThings, or they're just Blockly, Scratch, right, where there's simplified ways of interacting with things. If I've got this high-level computer that has all this data moving through it, what can I do now to present that to users? What are the types of things that I want to make out of it? We have people making everything from cheeseburger robots to satellites in space, performing X-ray tomography, to the NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory used them to create Mars rover prototypes that they were running underneath the polar ice. And of course, what we don't want are projects that are like, I'm going to go make this hardware something, because what we want is their efforts to be software that's reusable for other people to go make these projects. It's great if you want to go tackle a project, but that's not like an externship project, right? That's a personal project. The externship project, what are some of the code bits that I might want to use in that type of environment, things that I can make it easier for people to control things. Like we have integrations into to LabVIEW and MATLAB, right, where you can run your MATLAB or simulate things and actually turn motors, right, at high level. There's high level software like Machine Kit that allows me to build things like 3D printers and laser cutters, processing G code. So looking into the Machine Kit software is great. We have people building lighting for Christmas lights for their homes and building, entire homes synchronous displays, right? So you think of lighting festivals where I might want to, do a lot of synchronization and create large video wall displays, right? There's software out there, the things called the Falcon Pi player, and looking at some of those projects out there and how they could be made better or simpler for more people, and what types of things that you might want to end up making and creating is, I think, a good way to think about what your project should be.
Right. So again, like still the classes are going on in India, right? So can I be available at the time of evening, or supposed to give you, like, I'm not able to give you 40 hours, can I give like 25 to 30 hours in a week that works to be eligible for this externship?
And I think that classes should be wrapping up. I don't know the exact timeline, but I'm hoping that they wrap up during, and there's other times where you can be a little bit more focused, because we know that exam times come around, right? Even though it's exam times
right now. It's an exam times in India, so we'll probably end up by the end of this month, and the vacation will start from there.
From June.
Yeah.
So the summer starts in June.
Right.
You can spend less hours, but I don't I don't encourage it, right? I think you want to try to block out, if you can block out 30 hours a week, that'd be good. You know, you say 25, you know, I wouldn't expect it to only be 25 all the time. You know, I'm hoping you could block out a better period than that.
I think one of the things that's really important when the students are considering and filling out their application is to be very straightforward on where they'll be and when they'll be. So, you know, any information that you can provide with regards to when your exams finish for this semester and your summer begins and what your availability is per week should be in the application. Also, please let us know if you are planning to travel. I know that travel in India just to go and see mom and dad sometimes takes all day long. So, you know, if there are certain, you know, I'm going to be gone for these 3 days or so forth, if you let us know, it makes it a lot easier for the mentors to make some of the considerations and also to adjust expectations and milestones.
So, is there any future opportunities after the externship program ends? Like, I just wanted to work with both of you, the leaders. So, I mean, is there any opportunities to work with you and learn from you? I'm okay if it is unpaid too.
Unpaid opportunity, of course, we always welcome volunteers to contribute to the project, and we're happy to engage and support you in kind of onboarding your contributions. It's nice to participate in something organized like this because there's a little bit more focus from a number of people to kind of help get some guidance. But we have a very large community through the forums and the chat where you can, I think, pretty openly ask people about things that might be needed, opportunities for learning, right? Projects that you can maybe repeat to help build some experience. And you know, we always accept pull requests from the community members, right? That meet, you know, quality control, you know, expectations, right? Pull requests are very, very welcome, and we can help you find the right repositories to contribute to. And of course, there can also be paid opportunities. I think we've had some good success with former interns in helping them build job skills that help them get jobs in industry. And I think the skills that you learn through participating through Beagle are in high demand. So you know, there's certainly some opportunities for paid positions work as well once you've kind of proven yourself in the unpaid world.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all. That's all the questions that we have for today at the Ask Me Anything. And thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much, Kathy, for joining us. And now you will have lots of questions from the students and the developers on the Slack channel. And looking forward to have a great start with the questions and the collaboration.
Thanks. I'll say hi over there right now so people know where I'm at.
Yeah. So also, if you have any links wherein students can join and start putting their questions, so you can share on the chat as well, or you can share with me. I can put it on.
Great.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. It means
We're
a lot.
excited. We're excited to participate. We love growing our community via the student population. It makes us so much better.
India is the largest in terms of population, and you can see lots of developers are there now, and you will see a better number of applications to your way.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much It was really, really nice to listen to your, thought process, the way you plan the things. And we look forward to more such associations and, work together. Thanks, Sitan.
So now we have more announcement. There is a series, the AMA series, every day from today onwards to next week Monday at 7 p.m. We will share the links with you on your on the chats, on the social media, everywhere, wherein the organizations people will come and they will tell more about what they do and how they are how they are looking for the proposals from your side. So stay tuned for the same. And tomorrow we have Surya Software at 7 o'clock, and 7:30 we have the Palisados Foundation. So thank you for joining in at the launch of the AMA series at GitHub Externship.
Thanks, Sitan. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.